Hello and welcome to another episode of Not a Life Sentence. My guest today lives in New York with his wife and five children. He grew up in the Caribbean and joined the army. He got a couple of months to prepare for the Olympics in 1988 in bobsledding. I am so happy to have the great Devon Harris with me today. Thank you so much, Devon, for being here. How are you?
Carla, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be able to spend some time with you. Thank you for that introduction.
Maybe before we start and get into it, can you tell us a little bit about the Caribbeans?
Yeah, well, I was born and raised in my Caribbean friends are going to be very upset with me, but I want to call it the Pearl of the Caribbean, Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Of course, everybody, most people around the world are familiar with the island. Our music, reggae music is worldwide, our cuisine, our
Mm,
athletes, especially our summer athletes. Now, winter athletes, I don't know about those guys, but the summer athletes are, everybody knows about them. Usain Bolt, Shelley and Fraser, and so on. But yeah, the Caribbean on a whole, of course, tropical, palm trees and beach and that kind of stuff. But I would say the best thing about Jamaica and the Caribbean on a whole are the people, warm,
yeah.
friendly, inviting. So if you ever get a chance, you should jump at the opportunity to visit.
Oh, definitely. Devin, I don't need to introduce you. Disney has made a movie about you and the team.
Mhm.
Um, you guys had a couple of months to prepare and to get ready, and you did make it. What is it that separates you from others? Because your example says to us that anyone is able to achieve anything they set their mind into.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, what type of mindset did you have for you to have gotten where you did?
I think it's a hunger, Carla, and you're right, a belief that you can do things that are impossible. I often tell the story of my grandmother. When I was young, I was raised by her.
Mm,
And the, just the stories she used to tell me, but especially the ones about soldiers and the army, which inspired me to want to become a soldier. But more importantly, I was just inspired to go pursue things that other people thought was difficult, if not impossible. And as I was growing up, I grew up in Kingston, and as beautiful as Jamaica is, there are some really rough neighborhoods as well. And I grew up in one of those neighborhoods. And it was clear to me that even as we were struggling financially, economically, and so on, that there were people who were living really well.
mm,
And so I just wanted better. And it just meant that you had to be willing to step out of your comfort zone and go pursue this thing that may seem impossible, even scary. I mean, everything that we strive to achieve in our lives, if we've never done it before, there's an element of fear of failure,
mm,
fear of
of
rejection.
course.
And you have to be willing to face that in order to get what you want and to get to where you want to go.
Mm. Just for the listeners who may not know, how did you get to the Olympics? How were you selected, and how long did you have exactly to train for it?
Yeah, I was 21 years old. I just finished, just become a commissioned officer. And I
Mm,
remember I was having this really intense conversation with myself. And I'm like, so you're 21 years old. What are you going to do with the rest of your life, man? Is this it? Because my biggest dream was to become an officer. And here
mm,
I was. And I go, oh, yeah, the Olympics, they're coming up in 1988, because this was the summer of 87. The Olympics were coming up in Seoul, Korea,
mm,
in 1988. So back then, I fancied myself as a middle distance runner. I ran 800 and 1500 meters. And I hoped that I would get fit enough to qualify for those Olympics. Well, what do you know? Two Americans who lived in Jamaica at the time came up with the idea to start a bobsled team. And they came to the army looking for athletes. And long story short, my colonel, quote unquote, suggested that I tried out for the team. Honestly, I don't think that he expected me to make the team. There's a philosophy in the army that says officers must always participate. And the colonel had a bunch of enlisted men going to the team trials. So he thought he'd send his young fit officer as well.
Mm,
Well, the way I'm wired, Carla, I'm going to be at the team trials. I'm not going to go just to say I participated.
mm,
No, I have to make this team. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I didn't feel like I was fit enough sports wise. But again, that mindset that we spoke about, I just went there and I tried my darnest. And clearly, I performed well enough that they selected me. I like to say they like my smile, but you know, I was working hard, man. Those 2 days, I really pushed hard, and yeah, so we got selected. This was September, by the way, September of
mm.
1987, and the Olympics are coming up in February of 1988. And none of us on the team at the time knew what a bobsled was. Really, we had never seen one. There was no YouTube or anything to even.
Had you seen snow by then?
I had seen snow.
Yeah,
I saw snow for the first time in England when I was at Sandhurst.
right.
And then that was 85. And then the following year in the US in 86, I saw even more, but never really lived during the winter in a temperate climate country. But honestly, the snow and the cold is the least of our worries. When I tell people all the time, when it gets cold, you put on a jacket.
As simple
So,
as this.
yeah, kind of. That my only issue in the winter is my fingers. Jeez, my fingertips get red. Gloves do nothing for me.
Mm,
Um, but for the biggest challenge for me personally was overcoming the fear. I tell
mm,
people all the time, I'm scared of speed and height. And they're like, "Yeah, right. Yes, I am." I remember my first bobsled run, crawling in a sled behind a guy who had never driven a sled before, my driver at the time, Sammy. And I didn't know what to do with myself, Carla. And I tightened my helmet. I felt it was too tight. I loosened it. It's too loose. And I remember just saying to myself, if I die, but I'm going. And that's what I needed to say to myself to help me deal with the fear of going down the track. And they say, do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. So with each run, I just got just a little bit more comfortable with dealing with the fear of going down the track. But then you also had to learn all the other stuff, how to push the sled. And it was a really steep learning curve. And we were motivated to learn. We definitely wanted to represent our country. It was a chance to, for me and my teammates as well, certainly for me to fulfill this lifelong dream of being an Olympian.
mm,
Um, so when you have those really lofty goals, you sell out to it, you're motivated. You're going to scale any obstacle in order to get there.
mm. For me, it seems like you had the right mindset from childhood because you wanted to be an army officer and you did.
Hmm.
You were selected. Then this project, if I may call it such, came along and you were selected as well. So to me, you do have that. It's either I am going to win or I am going to win. It looks like you don't leave options.
Yes, you can't. Yes, I agree with that. I don't know if you can give yourself options when it comes down to achieving your goals and living your dreams. It's like, yeah. And sometimes you fail along the way, and I've had those too, those pesky little annoying experiences called failure.
Mm,
But there are opportunities to learn, right? And so you have to learn to kind of embrace those setbacks, but make them make you more resolute, more
mm.
determined to succeed and to achieve your goals. So yeah, it's I like how you put it, is you either win or you win in the end.
Yeah, because you didn't put ahead of you any other options.
And I think I won't say my upbringing, the circumstances under which I grew up in. I grew up in the hood, as I mentioned earlier, and wanting to escape those circumstances. Yeah, you can't afford to give yourself another choice. Is that you have to get out, or else you're kind of stuck there. And so, yeah, they developed that mindset, it's almost like a muscle that you train every
Yeah.
day, and
Yeah.
it gets stronger, and it just becomes, we talk about muscle memory, it becomes second nature. This is how you approach your
Hmm.
goals and dreams.
Yeah. You say learn to use your existing skills.
Hmm.
Do we all have skills?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, so that really speaks to my philosophy of keep on pushing. You learn to use your existing skill set and knowledge and experience, applying them to a new environment to take advantage of or to create new opportunities. So if you think about like our bobsled team, for example, clearly we knew nothing about bobsledding,
Hmm.
but we knew something about running though. And so we're able to take that knowledge, that skill, that experience of how to run, and we take it to a bobsled track, and we're able to push the sled. That's the existing skill that you're now applying to a new environment. And at the Olympic Games, with so little bobsled experience, we ended up pushing the seventh fastest start time. So I think in our own, in our lives, in our individual lives, in our endeavors, you may be looking to launch into a new career, a new field, a new business that you may not necessarily know a lot about,
Hmm.
but you have had life experiences. What are those life experiences that you have had, the knowledge that you can find a way to apply to this new environment? Sure, there are still things that you will need to learn, new skills that you'll need to develop, but I don't believe that you start from scratch completely. You have something that you can say, yeah, you know what, I've seen this movie before, so to speak. I've done this thing in the past. It's kind of similar, not necessarily the same thing.
Hmm.
You have to make an argument for yourself, man.
Hmm.
When you're going out to achieve something, you can't go, oh my God, I don't know anything about this. It's impossible. No, you learned in the past how to learn,
Hmm. Sure.
right? Everything that you know now, you learned it, right? So that was a
Yep.
learning is actually a skill. So
Hmm.
go apply that skill of learning to this new environment to learn how to do this new thing.
And sometimes those basic learnings were very hard, like talking or even walking.
Yeah,
It took us years.
precisely. If I could just segue a little bit, I just last December, almost a year now, I had double knee replacement surgery. And I was just saying to my wife the other day as I was walking down the stairs, I'm like, wow. And I remember when I was just coming from the hospital, we were having this big conversation about how I was going to get back into the house.
Hmm.
And I remember being upstairs, just kind of walking back and forth with my walker. Because so everything and every new experience, there's something to learn, and you can apply or draw on your previous experiences to be able to master this new one.
For me, what works is that whenever I'm really feeling down, I just remind myself of all the struggles that I've had and that I've overcome. And then I say to myself, this is just another challenge.
That's exactly true. Again, previous skills,
Yeah,
experiences, apply them
yeah,
completely.
definitely. Um, It is very hard to summarize Devon Harris and what you teach because I know that you give talks in 24 countries. But another saying that I really love, something that you say, daring to dream can get you everything.
Yeah,
And
I'm a big dreamer.
yes.
um, I think every worthwhile achievement actually starts with that, with a dream. You kind of
Mm,
have to see it in your mind first. I mean, I sometimes say that you can't be what you can't see.
mm.
So it starts there in your mind. And everything that we have experienced and everything that we use and live in this world started in somebody's mind. And so we have that incredible power given to us by the Creator to create these images in our head. And then dreaming, the creating the images is the start of the process, right? You kind of have to do some work, man. Dream and then you start taking the action. And when that dream is strong and powerful enough, it actually motivates you to do sometimes very difficult, painful, not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily beautiful things that you don't want to do, the discipline that will be required to do those things. You do those things because your dream is powerful enough to drive you to go
Mm,
do.
yeah. I have mentioned Walt Disney a few times on the podcast because I really love the saying he said, if you dared to dream, then it is achievable.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
guess what you are saying is really the same because some people don't even dare to even dream because before they even think about it, they start putting obstacles.
Yeah, and that's the fear of failure that I mentioned earlier, right?
Hmm,
That you have to be willing to fail. I get it. Failing sucks, for want of a better term, right?
of course.
It does not feel good. It can be embarrassing. People might ridicule you even before you get started. But you have to put yourself out there, or so the way I look at it, the reason why we dream is because we desire to be in a place other than where we are right now, often a better place than where we are right now. And
Hmm,
where we are right now, we find it lacking. There's something lacking in that experience. And so if you fail to dream or fail to act on your dream, then you're robbing yourself of being in that better place. And so when you remain in this place that you find yourself, you're settling and you're not really living, you're existing. I don't want to exist, I want to live. And if living means striving to achieve those dreams and failing and dealing with that, the hurt and the pain of that, it just really makes life a more beautiful, richer, more fulfilling experience and journey. You know,
hmm.
your scars give you stories to tell.
Yeah. And we can definitely thrive and not just survive.
Absolutely.
You did mention your motto, which is keep on pushing. And you
hmm
do have a foundation that has the same name. It provides practical solutions to some of the obstacles faced in educating children. Um,
hmm
how important is education?
Carla, so clearly I have some notoriety, primarily because an Olympic athlete. But I would say that my biggest accomplishment would be the education that I received. And I'm first to say I'm not a Rhodes Scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but I really, from a early age, I just recognized how important it was to get educated. And so I really focused on that. That's a thing, if nothing else, that's going to lift you out of poverty. So growing up in an environment like that and seeing how limited the opportunities are, generally speaking, in a place like Jamaica and tons of other places around the world, developing nations, you need to be educated. And so I just have this soft spot. All of us have this one thing in common. We're all kids at one stage. No matter
Correct.
where you are in the world, we're all at one stage kids. And so for me, the phrase, the children are the future, it's not just a nice little cliche, it's a profound truth. And so someone like me growing up in an environment like I did, if I can go back to that environment and other places that are similar and help just one child to not just dream, but give them the tools to be able to act on those dreams, then my life will be worth living.
The older I get, the more I understand that happiness comes from giving more than taking. And
Yeah,
it looks like you do believe the same and you do live by this motto,
I love giving. If I can give,
of course.
I just don't see any reason to hold it back. I can do something to help somebody along the way, then I more than happily do it.
Lovely. You have touched base on this. In one of your interviews, you said, I have had a few mentors in life, but the most influential person was the most amazing storyteller, and that was Loretta Robinson, my grandmother.
It's her fault, yes. Yeah, my granny was the best. My
Yeah.
granny was the best. Yes. What can I say about her, man?
Did
But yeah,
she did she induce dreaming into you?
I think so. I think just those stories that she told, and again, the one that impacted me the most, the one that I remember, I guess most clearly, are the ones she told me about soldiers and how they could perform these amazing feat and not get hurt. And it just kind of lit up my little imagination. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could do that, but I want to do it. But that was just a seed that was planted that then just kind of blossomed as I grew up in Kingston and I started, like I said earlier, look around my immediate environment and saw what was lacking, saw all the lack. And then seeing that there was just like not very far away, just the opulence. And I'm like, I want some of that too. So maybe I'm a natural dreamer, but my grandmother definitely nurtured that ability and it has had a tremendous impact on my life.
How old were you when she passed away?
Oh man, I was about 10. Yeah, it was 10. Yeah, about 10. She never even lived long enough to see me make it to high school. I was still in elementary school when she passed. I think I wrote in my book, like when I was growing up, she just wanted me to learn to read. And I'm like, girl, I've written a couple of books now.
You did a little bit more than just
Yeah,
learning how to read.
yeah.
You do have rituals when you wake up. You said, I like to quiet my mind through meditation.
Hmm.
When did you come to understand how important meditation was?
It's probably, wow, time is flying because we're in 2024 now. It's maybe 20 years ago now, actually.
Okay.
The funny thing is, I've always kind of liked my quiet time. I never call it meditation. I've always visualized, although I never called it visualization.
Mm.
Just something a little habit I developed in high school when I ran track and I would visualize me running and winning and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, as I grew older and I started reading more, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's this thing that I'm
Yes.
doing is something called visualization. And then just understanding to intentionally take time to quiet your mind and or meditate, as some people would call it. And so, yeah, that's been an important part of my morning rituals.
Mm. What are your projects now, or what projects you are working on?
Yeah, actually, as we speak, I am working on a course on resilience. And of course, I have plans to actually write a book on resilience. So that's going to, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to turn my attention to that, focus on that a little bit more. And the work with my foundation continues. We're actually wanting to develop a computer lab at a couple of the schools in the old neighborhood. So working on that now.
Mm. You have five kids. How old are
And
they?
35, my oldest, only Jamaican born, is 35. My daughter just turned 28 yesterday.
Happy
And
birthday
then,
to her.
thank you. My son is 27, and then my other daughter is 18, just started her first year of college, university. And the youngest is going to be 15 on Friday, actually. So, yeah,
You've got a birthday month, which is nice.
exactly.
What do they think of their dad?
Ah, he's just daddy.
Well,
You
I
know,
am very happy that this is the case. So you have a normal family.
yeah, I mean, they're proud of the whole bobsled stuff, but yeah, they don't walk around going, "Oh, my daddy was the Olympics," and so on and so forth. I'm just dad to them. They don't wear it like they don't show off with it, so to speak,
Yeah.
which is
And
fine. I just want to be dad. Yeah.
yeah. And what does your wife say about you?
Oh, no, she's proud of me. She definitely doesn't want me to drive another bobsled in my life, though. In fact, we were just talking about that last night. Actually, you have wife, you have a family now, you have kids. I'm like,
You've new knees now. You've got new
yeah.
parts.
I did say to her, well, it's okay that you feel that way because it's kind of out of my system now. I mean, if it wasn't, we'll be having arguments, right?
Before we started the recording, you said that Australia is on your bucket list. When is it going to happen?
I wouldn't call it a bucket list, but it's definitely on my list. I don't know. I guess I have to be a little bit more intentional about that. But yes, I definitely like to get on the continent. I've been as close as New Zealand. Forgive me, Aussies, but yeah, I want to get there.
You've been to New Zealand?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, we were only 3 hours away.
Yeah. It's so close and yet so far, huh?
Yeah. Devon, what would you like to end with?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. Congratulations as well on it. Thank you for putting out these amazing messages and doing this wonderful work. I encourage everyone to kind of support your work, listen to your guests, because I'm sure there's a nugget there for someone, for some person, from someone, one of your guests. And then just, I guess I'd want to encourage them, if I could paraphrase, I think it's Thomas Alva Edison that says, whatever is in front of you and behind you is completely insignificant to what's inside of you. Remember that.
What a nice way to end it. Devon, where can people find you?
I'm the easiest guy in the world to find. I'm at devonharris.com. Devon at devonharris.com. Instagram is the official Devon Harris. Feel free to stop by and say hello.
Lovely. Devon, thank you so much for making the time. Take care.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.